The rain was relentless that night in Seattle, pounding like accusations I couldn't yet hear. I opened the door to find a small girl, no older than 10, drenched and shivering on my porch. "Please, ma'am, can I come in? It's so cold," she said, her voice barely above the thunder. I pulled her inside without thinking twice, wrapping a towel around her tiny frame as my heart raced with concern. Little did I know this act of kindness would ignite the chain of events that threatened to destroy everything I held dear. "What's your name, sweetie?" I asked, guiding her to the kitchen where the warm light made her pale face look even more fragile. "Lily," she replied, her eyes darting around the modern suburban home Emily and I had shared for 2 years in secret. Emily was my everything, the brilliant lawyer who made my world make sense, the woman I loved in a way that defied the conservative circles we navigated. Our lesbian relationship was our sanctuary, hidden from prying eyes at her high-profile firm and my job as a school counselor in a strict private academy. As I made hot chocolate for Lily, she started talking. "I'm looking for my mom. Her name is Emily Carter. I found this address online. My dad, he said she didn't want me, but I had to try." My hands froze. Emily Carter, my Emily. But Emily had never mentioned a child. Before I could process, the front door opened and Emily walked in, her blonde hair damp from the rain, briefcase in hand. "Marceline, you won't believe the day I had at..." Her words died as her eyes locked on Lily. The girl's face lit up. "Mom," she whispered. Emily dropped her briefcase, her face draining of color. "Lily? How are you here?" The room spun. I stared at Emily, my lover, the woman I'd built a life with, and the truth hit me like a freight train. Lily was her biological daughter, born before Emily was forced into that sham marriage by her conservative family to hide the scandal of her teen pregnancy from a brief relationship with a boy they approved. The forced marriage came right after the birth. Emily had been 18, terrified, and given no choice. She had tried to keep contact, but the husband's family cut her off completely once the papers were signed. Lily had grown up believing her mother abandoned her, until her adoptive father died last month and Lily found old letters. Emily sank to her knees, pulling Lily into her arms while tears streamed down her face. I stood there frozen, watching the woman I loved cradle a child I never knew existed. "I never stopped thinking about you," Emily whispered. "But I was so young they made me marry him to save face. I thought you were better off without me." Lily clung to her, sobbing. In that moment, our quiet, carefully guarded lesbian life cracked wide open. Neighbors might have seen the girl arrive. Emily's firm had a morality clause that could end her career if the wrong people found out about us. My academy principal had already warned staff about lifestyle choices affecting contracts. One wrong move and everything, jobs, home, reputation, would vanish. We got Lily dry clothes and a warm bed in the guest room. That night, after she finally fell asleep, Emily and I sat on the couch, hands clasped so tightly it hurt. "We can't keep her here," I said, voice shaking. "Not without telling someone." "Social services," Emily cut me off. "No. If they find out about us, they'll use it against me in court. My ex-husband's family still has legal ties. They'll say I'm unfit." Her eyes met mine, desperate. "Marceline, this could ruin us both." I wanted to scream that love should be enough, but the fear in her voice told me decisions tonight would decide our future. One secret was already out. How many more would we have to bury to survive? The next morning, Lily woke early, asking questions that sliced like knives. "Is Marceline your friend, Mom?" Emily hesitated, then nodded. "She's very special to me." Lily smiled, innocent and trusting. I made breakfast while my mind raced. We had to find a way to keep this quiet, at least until we figured out custody. But as I watched Emily brush Lily's hair, the tenderness in her touch reminded me why I fell in love with her. Protecting this fragile new family might cost us everything we had built, and the storm outside was nothing compared to the one gathering inside our home. By afternoon, Emily's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Her sister had somehow heard a rumor. Someone at the firm mentioned a family emergency. The pressure was already starting. I paced the living room while Emily spoke in hushed tones on the back porch. When she came back inside, her face was pale. "They want me to come to a family meeting tonight. Alone." I felt the first real pang of dread. Every choice from here forward carried the weight of our entire future. Protect Lily and risk exposure, or protect our secret and lose the child who had already stolen our hearts. The rain had stopped, but the real storm was just beginning. Lily stayed with us through the weekend, her presence turning our quiet house into something alive and terrifying. She asked about school, about my job, about why Mom had never visited. Each innocent question forced Emily and me to weave careful lies that tasted like ash. By Monday morning I called in sick to the academy, claiming a migraine. Emily canceled 2 client meetings, something she had never done in 10 years at the firm. We knew we couldn't hide forever. That afternoon a black SUV pulled up outside. Emily's older brother, Richard, stepped out, suit crisp despite the damp Seattle air. He rang the bell once, eyes scanning the windows like he already knew. When Emily opened the door, his gaze flicked past her to where Lily sat coloring at the kitchen table. "So it's true," he said coldly. "You kept her a secret all these years." Emily tried to close the door, but he pushed inside. "The family wants custody papers drawn up immediately. Dad's health is failing. He won't have his only granddaughter raised by whatever this is." His eyes landed on me, then on Emily's hand still resting protectively on Lily's shoulder. The implication hung in the air like smoke. I stepped forward, heart hammering. Lily isn't going anywhere until a judge decides. Richard laughed without humor. "Judge? With the photos my investigator already has of you 2 holding hands at that little coffee shop last month? The firm will drop Emily before lunch if this leaks. And your precious academy, Marceline, they have morality clauses too." He left a thick envelope on the counter and walked out. Inside were preliminary custody filings naming Emily unfit due to lifestyle choices and emotional instability. Emily sank onto the couch, head in her hands. "I can't lose my job, Marceline. The partnership vote is in 6 weeks. If I fight this publicly, it's over." I sat beside her, pulling her close despite the risk of curtains being open. "And if we stay silent, we lose Lily. She already calls you Mom. Are you really willing to send her back to people who never wanted her in the first place?" The words came out harsher than I intended. Emily looked at me, tears brimming. "I'm trying to protect all of us. You mean her. But every door I open seems to lead to another cliff." We spent the night researching lawyers who handled same-sex custody cases, but every name came with warnings about media exposure. Lily slept between us on the king bed. Small hand curled around Emily's finger. In the dark I whispered, "We could run. Canada isn't far." Emily shook her head. "That's not protection, that's surrender. And it would destroy your career too." The weight of our choices pressed down until breathing hurt. By morning we had decided to hire a discreet attorney and keep Lily home sick, while we fought quietly. But quiet didn't last. Tuesday afternoon my phone lit up with texts from colleagues. Someone had posted a blurry photo on a local parent forum. Lily arriving at our house in the rain, Emily's car in the driveway. Comments speculated wildly. "Is that the Carter lawyer? With another woman?" The academy principal left a voicemail demanding a meeting. Emily's firm partner texted, "We need to talk. Now." The scandal was no longer a possibility. It was here. I watched Emily read the messages, her face hardening into the lawyer mask I knew so well. "We protect Lily first," she said finally. "Whatever it costs." For the first time since the girl appeared, I saw real fear in her eyes, not just for her career, but for the family we had never planned to have. The custody hearing was set for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, the media storm hit like a hurricane. A local blog broke the story with the headline, "Prominent Attorney's Secret Love Child and Lesbian Affair Exposed." Reporters camped outside our house. Lily had to stay indoors with curtains drawn. I lost my job at the academy the same day the article dropped. Budget cuts, the principal claimed, but we both knew better. Emily's firm placed her on administrative leave pending an internal review. Every decision now felt like stepping on thin ice over a freezing lake. One night after Lily was asleep, Emily and I argued in the garage so our voices wouldn't carry. "We have to come out publicly," I insisted. "Fight the narrative. Show them we're a stable family." Emily paced, hands shaking. "Public means losing the partnership for good. Means Lily gets dragged through tabloids. Means your future is gone too." "I won't do that to her." I grabbed her shoulders. "Then what? Let them take her because we're too scared to be who we are." The silence that followed was worse than shouting. The next morning brought worse news. Emily's parents arrived unannounced, her father using his spare key before we could stop him. "This is what your choices have done," he said, voice thick with disappointment as he looked at Lily coloring quietly. "We're filing an emergency motion for guardianship. The judge will see reason. A child needs a traditional home." Emily stood between them and Lily like a shield. "She's my daughter. You forced me to give up everything once. I won't let you do it again." Her mother started crying, but her father only shook his head. "You chose this lifestyle. Now live with the consequences." They left threatening to call Child Protective Services. That afternoon, Emily received the official suspension letter from the firm. I watched her read it at the kitchen table, shoulders slumping. For the first time since Lily arrived, she looked defeated. "Maybe they're right," she whispered. "Maybe I'm not fit. I hid her for 10 years. I knelt in front of her, taking her hands. You were a scared kid forced into a marriage you never wanted. You survived. That makes you the strongest person I know." Lily appeared in the doorway then, sensing the tension. "Are you fighting because of me?" she asked softly. The three of us ended up in a tight hug on the floor. Rain starting again outside like it was crying with us. But courage has a price. That evening, while Emily was on a hushed call with our lawyer, my phone rang. An unknown number. A reporter offered money for an exclusive interview. I hung up, but the damage was done. Someone had leaked our address again. By midnight, protesters with signs reading, "Protect the children," gathered at the end of the block. We turned off every light and held Lily between us, promising her it would be okay even as our own futures crumbled. The confrontation between protecting ourselves and protecting the child we had come to love was no longer theoretical. It was happening in real time, and every second mattered. The emergency custody hearing arrived faster than we were ready for. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and desperation. Emily wore her best suit, but the dark circles under her eyes betrayed the sleepless nights. I sat in the gallery, forbidden from sitting with her because the opposing counsel had painted me as the other woman, destroying a traditional family. Lily waited in a side room with a court-appointed advocate. Every time the judge glanced my way, I felt the weight of judgment. Emily's ex-husband's family brought out old letters, bank statements, anything to prove she had abandoned Lily. Their lawyer played the morality card hard. "Miss Carter has chosen a lifestyle incompatible with raising a child in a stable environment." Emily stood tall and countered with medical records showing the forced marriage, therapy notes from years of guilt, and character witnesses from colleagues who still supported her despite the scandal. But the damage was visible on the judge's face. During recess, Emily pulled me into a quiet hallway. "If I lose today, I want you to take Lily and leave the state. Start over somewhere they won't find you." I stared at her, stunned. "I'm not leaving you." Her eyes filled. "This is bigger than us now. She deserves a chance." The words cut deeper than any headline. In that moment, I realized the ultimate test had arrived. Would I choose the woman I loved or the child who needed us both? Back in court, the judge ordered a temporary placement with Emily's parents while a full investigation ran. Emily's gasp echoed through the room. Security had to escort us out past flashing cameras. That night at home, we packed a small bag for Lily, explaining she would stay with grandparents for a little while. She cried into Emily's shoulder. "I just found you." Watching them, I made my decision. I would fight, publicly, loudly, even if Emily couldn't. The next morning, I called the reporter who had offered money and scheduled an interview for that afternoon. Emily found out when the local news van pulled up. "What are you doing?" she demanded, voice breaking. "Saving our family," I answered. The interview went live that evening. I spoke about love, about forced marriages, about the real cost of silence. By midnight, the internet exploded with support and hate in equal measure. Emily watched the segment beside me, tears streaming. "You just burned every bridge we had left." But for the first time in weeks, I saw a spark of pride in her eyes. The lawsuit wasn't over, but the narrative had shifted. Now the world knew our names, our love, and our fight. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Emily's parents filed a restraining order claiming my interview endangered Lily. My old colleagues posted online calling me reckless. But donations poured in for our legal fund, and messages from other LGBT families gave us strength. Still, Every victory felt hollow without Lily under our roof. Then came the accident. Emily was driving back from a late meeting with our new pro bono lawyer when a distracted driver ran a red light. The crash made national news. Attorney and lesbian custody battle hospitalized. I raced to the ER, heart in my throat. When I arrived, reporters were already outside. I pushed through them, shouting, "She's my partner," for the first time in public. Inside, Emily lay bruised and bandaged but awake. "Lily," she whispered. I held her hand. "She's safe. Your parents won't let me see her." But the judge granted me supervised visits starting tomorrow. The hospital became our new battlefield. Emily's family tried to bar me from the room, but the hospital staff, moved by the news coverage, enforced my rights as next of kin after I showed our domestic partnership papers. That night, sitting beside her bed while machines beeped, Emily squeezed my hand. "I was wrong to ask you to run. We fight together, no matter what." Her words healed something inside me that had been fracturing for weeks. Lily visited the next day under supervision. Seeing her mother in the hospital bed broke her little heart, but the three of us held each other as best we could. The judge, watching the public outcry, expedited the full hearing. Emily was released after 3 days with strict orders to rest. We returned home to a house surrounded by both supporters and protesters. Every decision now carried life or death stakes for our future. Come out fully on national television or risk losing Lily forever in the final ruling. The final hearing lasted 6 hours. Emily took the stand and spoke with raw honesty about her forced marriage, the years of silence, and the love she had found with me. I testified about the night Lily arrived and how our family had grown stronger despite everything. The judge listened, asked pointed questions about stability and Lily's well-being, then recessed to deliberate. When he returned, the courtroom held its breath. Custody is awarded to the biological mother, Emily Carter, with joint guardianship granted to Marceline Hayes. The gavel struck and the room erupted. Emily collapsed into my arms, sobbing with relief. Lily ran to us from the waiting area, wrapping her arms around both of us. Outside, cameras flashed as we stepped into the sunlight as an official family for the first time. The cost had been enormous. Careers stalled, relationships severed, privacy gone forever. But standing on the courthouse steps with Emily's hand in mine and Lily between us, I knew the price of courage had been worth every tear. We had chosen love over silence, and though the world still watched and judged, we were finally free to live openly. True or false? In a world that demands silence, is choosing to speak up for love always worth the devastating cost?